Welcome to Spotlight Gulf Coast, a weekly showcase of people and events across South Mississippi. Sponsored by the IP Casino Resort and Spa, Mississippi Power Company, Gulf Sales and Supply, and Butch Osterlet Autoplex.
My name is Todd Trenchard, and I appreciate everybody tuning in to another segment of Spotlight Gulf Coast right here on WXXV. Of course, today my guest is a very good friend, Rich Westfall. And Rich, this is exciting being in a new studio over here. And, this is, we've come a long way from back in the day.
Yeah.
And,
I've been on this show with you several times in the studio at the office, at the studio at the other station, and different places throughout the Mississippi Gulf Coast. But this is by far the best as far as I'm concerned. This is really a great place to be, and I'm honored and privileged to be on your show today.
I think that indirectly I got you involved at one time. You were like a host of a show. So we have fun with this, but it does serve a great purpose. I'm really excited about what the future holds. Can't think of anybody better. You and Michael would talk about, a little bit about the last, 10 plus years. You and I, we go back even farther than that.
We do. I remember meeting you the first time shortly after Katrina, asking if we would help you with this thing called the Jolly.
Right.
And we were in a position at that time to be able to do that, and we jumped on board and got involved in the Jolly McCarty Memorial
right.
Golf tournament and reception. And we had 2 wonderful years where we were the title sponsor. And then that's when really you expanded your horizon and were able to bring, I guess it was IP in as the title sponsor, and things really did change at that point. So it's been a wonderful history. Been associated on the board for many, many years. I was in fact, really privileged to be president of the board for 3 of those years. So
that's right.
It's a very exciting thing to see, and to see the transition that you've made from a very small sort of local foundation to now a community foundation that serves all of South Mississippi.
Now, Rich, when I first met you, again, you're working with, I guess it was Isle of Capri back in the day, and, y'all had just finished up. I think the first exposure I went out and I saw the D'Artes, and y'all had used Lee Trevino, and I was learning about, things that we could do. But I also learned some things from you that you were always pretty hands-on, that you would always be out at events, and that sort of stuck in my mind, that if you were going to be a part of, be a part of.
Yeah.
And
we called that Isle Style.
Isle Style
back in the old Isle of Capri days. We had a tremendous management team with Tim Hinckley and Bill Kilduff, and all the way through. I was privileged to be part of the team that really came up with the name Isle of Capri Casino, and it was a major brand development, which really it was an incredible experience, and it really blossomed into a $1 billion company nationwide. So to be part of that was just a tremendous experience for me. And we had one of the best marketing teams you could ever hope for there in Biloxi, and certainly it showed, and the things that we did were tremendous. One of the major efforts that we took on early on at the Isle of Capri was to give back to the community. Tim Hinckley was a true believer in that, and Billy Creel, who was a lot of people may remember Billy, and he was a local, and he brought sort of the navigation of all of that to us, so we knew where to go. But we sort of led that charge and made it a major effort at the Isle to give back to the community through Boys and Girls Clubs, United Way, the Heart Association, and all of the nonprofits and agencies on the coast. And we felt that was our responsibility to do that.
It's interesting to see, because you have been there for so long as part of this coast, and you're starting to see the closest the coast is closer together, and in some ways it's farther apart.
Yeah.
And it's sort of a mixture of the two. It just sort of, is a very fluid sort of situation over the years. And we've had some catastrophes. We've had some things that we've had to deal with. But,
Yeah.
I think one of the constants, is probably, you and I have worked together through, some good times, some bad times. And for a while there, you were working with the Gulf Coast Community Foundation.
Yeah.
And I think that's when Michael coined us the funding fathers.
The funding fathers.
And
That's right.
I got a lot more calls from that. What do you fund?
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
But again, it's sort of interesting because you got to have those people in your community that are willing to, I guess, be out there in the forefront. And sometimes that's not the easiest thing. People see when you're out there, oh, it's a great life. It also gives them a lot of your own personal
Yeah.
life because you're always out in the public's eye, always.
Yeah, always.
And
And you now more than me, since I've gotten into the retirement world, being fully retired. But you're out there at every event. In fact, you're probably a lead sponsor of many of the bigger events here on the coast, which allows us as the board members for Bacon McCarty Foundation to attend those. So
Right.
it helps us all get back out into the community. But all those things are so important to support our agencies, whether it's the chamber, the business council, many of our nonprofits here on the coast. Those are the things that you do and that we do as the Bacon McCarty Foundation.
I think that, I was just talking with John Carter, just had lunch, and we were talking about, he said, do you give to events? I said, not only do we give to events, we want tables there so we can send our board there. And that's how you're going to build capacity with your nonprofit,
Right.
is that board.
Yeah.
And, that is a much more effective technique than just give money and that's the end of the day. Yeah. And I think a lot of relationships and a lot of communication has been started up by that. So it would seem like, a thing to go to an event. No, we do this every week in, week out, sometimes 3 and 4 times a week.
And we do it strategically too. It's not an accident.
Right.
The reason why the board's there, the reason why we are there as an organization, why the board is there, is to develop those relationships, to get the organization up, move it up in a notch or two in the vision of the coast. And they're very intentional, very strategic, and you've done a great job with that.
Well, I appreciate that. We're going to take a short commercial break. That was real quick. We're going to come back. We're going to have Michael Sunderman, of course, who's well known to this community, and we're going to talk a little bit more. So don't touch that remote. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. As we've said, we're now joined by Michael Sunderman. And Michael, we were just talking before we came on. We've been working together for 16 years. I mean, I remember when you first got the magazine, and you either convinced me or I convinced you to put Eminem on the cover. And I was like, man, this is big time.
Yeah, well, you were just talking to Rich Westfall. And when I started the magazine, I knew a lot of people in Harrison County and that, but I didn't know a lot of people in Jackson County. So Rich said, do you know Todd Trenchard? I said, no. He goes, we need to go meet Todd. That's how we got together. Rich Westfall put us together.
Right.
And you were my liaison into Jackson County, which was fantastic. So yeah, you got the cover for that effort. So.
Yeah, that's a long time ago now. And again, a lot of things that we've worked together since then, but the magazine's become sort of a staple of South Mississippi. And, it's been interesting to see over the years all the different, I mean, it hasn't just been faces of the coast. You've addressed social issues, with Home of Grace. I remember that. We've done some things just recently with Lighthouse School with dyslexia. And all of a sudden,
terrific teams.
Yeah, and things that are just brought to the forefront, and it permeates the mindset. But this is not something that you just came up with here. You've been doing this a long time.
Yeah, I've been in the print media business for about 40 years of my life now, magazines and stuff. But I was traveling around the country in the newspaper business, and I kept seeing all these community magazines. And I thought, if I ever get back to South Mississippi, we need a magazine. We used to have a magazine called Coast Magazine back here years ago.
Mhm.
I actually tried to buy that twice. So when I got back here, I had a working plan to start South Mississippi Living Magazine as a way for Mary and I to get involved in the community, but also a way to get involved and to give back and help out charities and nonprofits get more name recognition and get more press time out there.
Right.
So and it's worked out great. Knock on wood, by the end of this year, we'll be fast approaching $1 million given back through our media company to the community. So that's a significant.
Oh, it's been
for our
huge,
size
and
company.
it's helped connect the entire coast. I mean, I just can't think of an event that you haven't been at over all these years. And you know, again, the magazine is really you know, it showcases food, it showcases fashion, it showcases, you know, things that are going on. It really is something that, you know. And then the click it in the back, something that I wouldn't even thought of, you know, is people are sitting there, I don't like my hair.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Oh, really?"
Those are the social photos in the back, and you know, my editors don't want to hear that, but people go there first. They want to go to the back of the magazine,
Right.
see who's out with who, what they're wearing,
Yeah.
what event they missed. But that's a great way to attract readership too. It's worked well for us. But we try to fill every single page with positive stories. You'll never see a negative story about South Mississippi in our magazines, any of our magazines or publications. So we're just here to promote, and there's so much good news. You know, years ago, an old publisher told me, Michael, you know, bad news is easy to find. It kind of falls in your lap. Just listen to a police scanner. You can get all the bad news you want.
Right.
But good news, happy news, you got to go out there and work harder for it. You got to go out there and dig it up and find it. So, you know, people like you and Rich and all these community people that have now become our friends in our personal lives too, just email us, text us, call us, tell us about
Right.
these events. And that's how we hear about these things. Then we make sure we get it covered.
Well, and we, of course, you, Rich, and I had a common sort of interest, obviously golf, and then we had the Jolly was going off the ground. But you know, this thing sort of morphed into then a fashion show. Then you know, it became all these other events that we were doing, and before you know it, like you said, we're all at all these different events. We're building capacity. We're getting to know everybody, and you know, it's a different coast than it was 16 years ago.
It is, and I think partnerships like what we have with the Bacon McCarty Foundation builds a bond there, and then together we get a lot more done, Todd.
Right.
And you know, whether it's putting your events on the cover or featuring stories, or it gets people involved and gets people out there. And how we try to help out the charities is we give them a lot of free space in the magazines
Right.
to promote their event, so that more people attend those events, so more people come to the live auctions, and more people buy tickets, and more people donate. And that's how those big events help. You know, going back to Home of Grace, that was something that we started out with maybe a 1 or 2 page feature story, end up with a 32-page special section that raised
Right.
well over $100,000 in donations to their event. So
Right.
that was amazing.
Well, and you did it before that, though. I mean, you know, in a lot of ways, I was able to tell my recovery through the magazine on several occasions, and I can't tell you how many people would call me from that, you know, and ask questions. But just to see that over the last 25 years, how that stigma has changed to today. I mean, I could tell you some very, very well-known people that got in touch with me today that were asking some questions, you know, because you start talking about some of these issues that were all hush-hush,
Yeah.
you know, and it's a much more open
I
society.
think everyone's got a friend or a family member that's had some sort of addiction problem, or
Right.
alcohol or drugs. And I think talking about it and getting help is the best thing you can do.
And it's not just the magazine, though, too. You're the kind of friend that you came and heard me tell my testimony at a certain clubhouse.
Yeah.
And, you know, that means a lot to me because, again, you, Rich, and I, we are personal friends. We do so much together. You've reached out, though. You've helped the foundation, given us an office over here. I mean, I can't think of too much more one business could do than what you've done. The terrific team program when we worked together. I mean, we were able to recognize, give out scholarships. We've done, each year we've presented in December our Guide to Giving,
Guide to
and
Giving,
that's been
yep.
going on a long time. So you can use the power of what you do well with things that maybe I'm doing. And before you know it, we're at all these events. We know everybody. We're starting to, build a very closer community. And the future is looking so bright because we're just scratching the surface.
It is, especially now that you've got some office space with us in Harrison County.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of having a new group of individuals over here spearheading this thing for you. I see nothing but positive growth over here, and there's so many needs in our community that still need to be met, and I think that's our challenge.
I think we're going to get there. We've got about a minute left of this segment here, but a lot of people may not know you're a pretty good little golfer. I remember one time it was one of the senior PGA, and you were out there hitting the ball or something. Or what was that event where you were hitting the final on 18 at Fallen Oak?
Oh yeah.
It was a little. Was it St. Patrick's? Maybe something had something out there.
Could have been. So yeah, but no, I'm a golf nut. I spent 5 years of my life coaching the St. Patrick boys team, and we won some state championships. It's funny. I had dinner last night with one of the kids that used to be on my team, and it was so good that he reached out to see his old coach. So it was nice.
Oh yeah, and you have done that. Jesse's, of course, a great little golfer, and I've always known y'all to. I think y'all are playing Boys and Girls Club. You and Rich.
Yep.
Coming up this weekend.
Weekend.
Anyway, we're going to take a short commercial break. We're going to come back. We're going to have Rich Westfall join us. We're going to talk about how the three of us have worked together over the last almost 20 years. Welcome back, everyone. Now we've got what we call it, the terrific trio. I mean, a new little term that we've just come up with. We really have been able to work together, not only with the Banco McCarty Foundation, a lot of other causes. I mean, tourism. I mean, you think about it. There's so many things that we've done together over the years. It's amazing. And I think what it's done is sort of bring others along with us. And this is something we'll look back at. We really have made a difference. I mean, you can joke about it all you want. We've done some things that, probably never would have happened if we wouldn't have all somehow bumped into each other.
What I like about this trio here is that there's really nothing we can't find or solve, because if I don't know the answer, I know Todd or Rich can point me in the right direction and say, by an hour later, we've got the answer. We found a sponsor. We found something to solve the problem. And that's really what it's all about, is working together and just solving problems.
Just the Jolly, if you talk to just the Jolly Golf Tournament, I mean, we're giving out more prizes than people ever get, because we got every course, and we're giving out, foursomes to this, that, and the other. And, you take an event and turn it into something super. Because we're able to network with each other and use each other's, talents and connections and things like that. But again,
there's a perfect example when we did the One Coast Ambassador of the Year
remember
program.
that well?
And I came to Michael with the idea, and his team created all of the graphics for it. I came to you for your help. We brought in the Boys and Girls Clubs and Banco McCarty Foundation scholarship for the Boys and Girls Club individual. And then we just celebrated the Coast by honoring Kenny Hughes the first year, who really came up with the One Coast concept.
Billy Hughes.
Billy Hughes, yeah. What did I say? Kenny Hughes? He's a golfer, isn't he? Yeah. Billy, Mayor Billy Hughes came up with the original One Coast concept, and then we honored John Hairston, who really gave so much back to the community through Hancock Whitney Bank, and helped us push through and create the backbone of the Tourism Commission. So those two events were tremendous. Wouldn't have happened without you and without you.
Yeah, and working together, and again, we've done that on so many different type things. I always like to go back to the fashion show, which was something I certainly was sure was the end of my career, because I didn't know. I just could not visualize me ever being a part of something like that. Now we have something that is a fun event, people are looking forward to.
Yeah.
You know, again, I was talking to John and he said him and Christina are already practicing. So I was like, really?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they get serious about this because your community is looking for something to have fun with.
And that
Yeah.
show raised $150,000 for the
Yeah.
community. That's,
And-
Yeah.
you know, bottom line, it's worth every minute we put in this thing.
And in a lot of ways, by having it on the cover for a couple of years, it does permeate the mindset of, you know, you can say whatever you want. If you're on the cover of that magazine for a couple of years in a row, it must be a signature event that, you know,
Exactly.
people want to be a part of. So I really like the idea of some of the things, though, that we're bringing to the forefront that maybe people don't talk about. Again, like alcoholism or dyslexia or the school system, being able to showcase what Wayne Rodolphus, who, you know, just retired and left,
That's right.
Mhm.
what that man did was amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah. Again, it's just taking people that are going above and beyond for our community and just giving them a little publicity, give them a little thank you, a little pat on the back, and that's kind of what my element that I can bring to this trio. And then, you know, coupled together with you two, we seem to get it done.
Yeah.
Now
That's
we're again from 3 different parts of the coast. I've just moved over here to Harrison County, and I'm getting to know a new community over here. Rich, you've been over in Gulf Hills probably since they built Gulf Hills. They probably built it around your house.
That's
He
right.
came in on a wagon train. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've been here. A lot of people may not know, but you've been here since the beginning of gaming. I mean,
Yeah. Been here for 30 years now.
30 years
and
August.
we were the first casino to open August 1st, 1992, we being the Isle Capri Casino. And so this year, gaming celebrates 30 years of gaming in Mississippi. Mississippi celebrates 30 years of gaming in Mississippi, August 1st, this year, 2022. Incredible milestone, and I can't believe it has been 30 years. So
yeah, and I'm sitting there
incredible.
at the Gaming Summit the other day, and there you are with some of the originators. You're the MC of the event, and I'm sitting over here with Vince, you know, shooting the ball with the biggest players in the whole thing. You know, that's sort of neat, you know, to be a part of, you know, things like that, and it all really being under one little building there on Seaway that we're all like part of.
And gaming, you know, I don't mind saying gaming saved the coast. In many ways, gaming saved the state. Many towns and cities on the coast were verge of bankruptcy, and Dockside Gaming came in and flooded these cities with tax revenue. And we have new schools, we have new police cars, we have all kind of safety items, wetlands money, you name it. All these new marinas have been built. Gaming has really made this into a destination resort.
Yeah.
Well, I want to
And
thank.
it's such a great location too. It's a great area. The culture that we have, the arts that we have, the culinary aspect
Right.
of the
Absolutely.
coast is beyond belief. But the thing that I really like is our culture with the Orr O'Keefe Museum, the Gary design, and also Walter Anderson Museum,
Right
which
here.
there is
That's right.
one of Walter Anderson's prints.
And you're chairman of the board.
well, I'm just
Just
immediate
past
past,
Uh-huh.
president of the
Just.
board, and it is just a great organization to be part
Well,
of.
you mix culture with the casinos in our southern atmosphere down here, and that's why gaming in Mississippi's done so well.
Mhm.
It's a whole different experience than Las Vegas or Atlantic City or anything else that gaming's offered. So that's what's
George Conwell was on the show, I guess it was this past week, and he was talking, and he said there's no place like it. And he's been everywhere,
Yep.
you know,
Yeah.
in gaming. He said the restaurants, we have the best restaurants, the
restaurants.
best choices. It really is a great way to live.
Yeah.
listen. The Baker McCarty Foundation has done so much good, and Mary and I are just honored to be involved in any way we can. And we just see it keep on growing. That's why we offered just some office space to give that inroad into Harrison County and to get people more excited over here. So now we got friends like Butch Oslett and Rick Carter and Roy Anderson all jumping on board saying, I want to be a big part of this thing. And it's going to just make it more and more successful for us.
I want to thank both of y'all for coming on the show today, and we want to thank everybody for tuning in each week for Spotlight Gulf Coast. Until next time, this is Todd Trenchard saying so long, and may God bless.